stay conservative, run the ball here on third down.
Here's Richardson. He takes it in for his first NFL touchdown. And Pittman takes it inside the 20, the 10, towards the end zone. Touchdown on 2nd and 28. The Colts capitalize. Richardson to Pittman, 39 yards.
Good evening, everybody. We are kicking with the crew. Right now, it's just me to start things off for everybody. Guys had some things going on, and Damon should be joining me in just a bit here. So, yeah, what's up, everybody? Hopefully, we get the chat going real quick. And just we were supposed to have a mock draft for you guys tonight, but we'll just do a little show, kick back, take some questions, and discuss anything that's been going on. So we can start with the news. There was Julian Blackmon re-signing with the Colts. So there's that. And what else we get? Obviously, I think that was just the news for the week. But yeah, man, just let me know how y'all feeling out there. Hopefully the week has been going good. We can get things going. What's up, Keo? Keo saying, let's go. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? Hopefully more people jump in here. Nathan is saying we need a corner bad. I don't know, man. I don't know how much I would say. I wouldn't say that corner is going to be one of our biggest, most pressing needs. I think that if we get healthy at corner, that could be something that could still really help for us. Jalen Jones can still develop. Juju Brents, obviously, we need him to stay healthy. We're getting Flowers back. So, obviously, the injury being there, I would say a late round corner in the draft, maybe something, and a veteran. But I wouldn't say it's the biggest need. I'd say more so free safety than anything is one of those needs that we really got to get going there. But man, just keep those questions going, man. Keep those questions coming on the conversation. I'm gonna get more people in here in a minute. Nathan said, and go get some help at receiver. Yeah, man, it's wide open for anything that we can do with the draft coming up, and where we could potentially go as far as positions and where we're adding and whatnot. But we got everything open to us. But I wouldn't say anything is overly needed. Yeah, Keo saying right here, our safeties got cooked. Thomas and Cross, it wasn't the corners. Yeah, so totally agree with you there. I think we gotta, let those guys keep developing at cornerback. Probably add some more a little bit. And obviously, we shouldn't be going with practice squad cornerbacks. Hopefully not anytime soon. But again, like I said, a late round corner, a veteran, somebody else to help us out in a couple of those rooms. That would be good as well. So that's something that we should definitely address there. Nathan was saying this. He thinks this is a make or break season for Blackmon. I mean, you got to put it that way. When they gave him the 1 year deal, giving him a 1 year deal is basically letting them know, like, hey, we can either keep you and can pay you. There wasn't the biggest market for him. Obviously, he visited the Buffalo Bills and the 49ers, but it's still a tough one to say right now. But, I mean, he's coming off his best season too, so I wouldn't necessarily say it's a make or break, just as long as the guy can stay healthy. It's tough to think about what his pay might be, but got to stay healthy, last throughout the season, and see what he could do. Keo is saying he don't count Brown and Baker. They were wet garbage. Yeah, man. We should hopefully we never have to see practice squad cornerbacks again. Austin is saying, what's up, Austin? Appreciate you coming in, man. But there's no free safety we should draft in the first round. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's some people who are really high on Cooper DeJean. That'd be the guy that if you wanted to go safety high, but I still think you could just go get my guy out of Minnesota, forgetting his name right now, but yeah, the guy out of Minnesota would be the safety that I would want as a rookie. Still trying to share this out, my bad, guys. Tyler Nubin, yeah, that was the name, Tyler Nubin. That'd be the safety that I want, but he wouldn't be in the first round. He'd still be a second round guy. And then Keo saying Baker couldn't cover bed sheets. Nathan is saying, I hope we go get Latu. I mean, Latu, man, it's still tough to get a read. I had some conversations about him the other day. Ooh, that hat go crazy. I didn't even realize it moved like that. Just bought the new draft hat, everybody. Had to get the draft hat. And then I got my Pittman. Got my Pittman. Yeah, man. What was it? What was I saying? I think Nubin would be the way to go if we go safety. Oh no, I was talking about Latu. My bad. Yeah, Latu. I just the medicals were pretty concerning me since he already medically retired once. I'd love to see the guy get healthy if we do take him. I do like his abilities though. It's just the worries about his injuries and whatnot. But most people think that he should be good to go. Obviously, I think Chris Ballard and company will do their research on his health to see where he may go, or if it's worth the risk. Cooper DeJean will not be as good as many think, and Latu is medical risk. I mean, I agree with both of those. I definitely don't want Cooper DeJean as a corner. Just my opinion. People say he's the best corner in the draft. I just don't see it. I watched the tape, and I don't see top 5, top 7 corner in this draft. I just really don't. But that's just me, man. Colts fan Antoine. What's up, Antoine? Appreciate you coming in. He said, "Nah, we need safeties and corners first above all." I wouldn't say corner, but I would say safety. I mean, like I said, I think a 3rd round corner, 4th round corner, something late. Those would be the guys that I would say, but I personally wouldn't say corner is the biggest need. Safeties for sure. Austin said, "I may have missed it, but who's your guy you want in the first?" Man, I do not envy Chris Ballard at all, bro. Because if it was me, like I'm telling you right now, I wouldn't know who I wanted in the first. I jump my picks every single day. Like if I could go my dream picks, my absolute dream picks, the guy who I would want most. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say outside of Marvin Harrison Jr., just because everybody in Colts Nation, we know why we want the guy. Obviously, he is talented. He's one of the best players in the draft. But my top 2 dream picks would be Dallas Turner from Alabama or Malik Neighbors from LSU. Those would be the 2 guys that I like. Oh my God, you got to get your hands on them. Those would be the 2 that are really like dream picks to me. Obviously, outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. again, and then. You got a guy like then you got guys that I start to think of when I think of the cornerbacks or stuff that we need. A Terrion Arnold, that's my favorite cornerback. Then you got Quayon Mitchell. What's up, Damon? Damon's joining us in, everybody.
Hey, it's the old school Damon DeMarco show. Bro, why is it every time this time of the year, it's me and you? Have you noticed that?
Is it?
Like,
I think we
last
did
year
too.
we ran a lot of draft stuff last year.
Yeah.
Whenever Matt was in the process of moving, but glad to be on the show. So are we getting a little bit into draft stuff right now?
Yeah, right now they're asking me who would I want in the first, man, and I just rattled off like all the things that I think of when I think about that first round pick. But I was just getting to the cornerbacks where I was at Terrion Arnold or Quayon Mitchell. Those would be 2 cornerbacks that I want. But it truly depends who's on the board at that point, Austin. But I'm really, 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 really liking and thinking that we should not pass on Brian Thomas Jr. That's the guy that I just think that he would take our offense to a whole nother level immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I think for corner and receiver, it truly is going to matter who's on the board for us at that pick. Get y'all's cups too, by the way, as DeMarco has.
All the merch.
You know what I mean? So it's going to be a toss-up between both positions. I think of truly who's available. I do think Ballard has his guy he has in mind. I think it is Brian Thomas Jr. Honestly,
I just don't. I don't envy him, bro. Because I tell you right, I jump off a pick every single day of who I would want. So I don't envy the position he has to be able to have all available. It's not like before when we knew we needed quarterback. It's like there ain't too many that I would want.
Yeah.
So
well,
like,
and I see a couple people rattling off like Malik Neighbors, phenomenal athlete, but that guy might go top 5.
Yeah, that's I told him
that
my 2 dream picks. My 2 dream picks were Neighbors and Turner. outside of Marvin Harrison Jr. Obviously.
I agree.
So,
And Keo Walker here, if you want to pull up his comment, I think makes a good point. Like, hey, he says we need someone like a Brian Thomas Jr. Or Adonai Mitchell or even Xavier Worthy. We need to outscore the better AFC teams. There's no defensive pick that will swing the needle enough at 15. I don't disagree with you, man. At edge, I think it's going to be gone. You know what I mean? I do think what we want at edge is probably going to be gone by about 15. In corner, I'm kind of a toss up because me personally, I think that the right and appropriate move would have been to trade for a vet or pick up a vet there, just because I think we are super, super, super young there. So that's a toss up for me at corner. You know what I mean? I don't know how you
I
feel about that.
saw a mock draft today that was us taking Quayon Mitchell at 15, cornerback out of Toledo, and then we traded back into the first round, and I want to say it was at like pick 26. We took Brian Thomas Jr. and I right then and there, I'm like, that draft would feed families. Like I think that would be the ultimate way, like Ballard said, to get more elite and explosive on both sides of the ball very quickly. I think those picks would do it right there. Paul, I was just giving you the shout out on there because you said you was from Louisiana. I do believe Trev, one of our other co-hosts, is also from Louisiana.
Yes, he is.
I'm from California myself, and I believe Damon's from Texas, right? Yeah.
Matt, and Matt as well.
Yeah, so we're from all over the place. We got one co-host, Zach, who's actually from Indianapolis over there. Keo's also saying a lot of fans didn't see Jalen Jones' performance. A corner in the first is a waste. I mean, I'm not opposed to competition. I wouldn't say a waste, but I do get your point. So I could see us not going first round corner there. But again, it just depends on who's the board, because obviously if you can upgrade that corner and then you also add depth to it at that point, it's a tough one to say no to, man. So it is. I get your point though there.
And to second that too, but maybe help me out here. Is he saying that a lot of people didn't see Jalen Jones perform well? He's
basically saying that fans are sleeping on Jalen Jones.
Oh, they are.
To say that we need to get a first round corner to replace him.
Yeah, and Michael, I don't know if you were watching a little bit during the season, but man, we really like Jalen Jones here. I will say that because that guy had to deal with a lot. That guy had to end up playing a lot of number one corner down the stretch for us this year, and
he got thrown to the wolves like Blake.
He got thrown to the wolves. He did, and he came back swinging early time and played very physical. I liked his performance a lot more than Juju Brents. I'm just going to leave it at that because I've kind of been very critical of Juju, and I probably need to stop, but that's just where I'm at with it. So,
yeah, I think the dude's got the mental makeup to be a really solid corner. I think that's something that doesn't get said enough. So, I mean, it's like if you wheedle it down, you could really go to corner to wide receiver being the option, just because if you look at what we did, they let go of our old D-line coach, Nate Ollie, and bring in Charlie Partridge from Pittsburgh. And it seems like what they want to do is try to reconstruct what they're doing on that defensive line to create more pressures. And then, like Damon said, like our cornerbacks were pretty solid there if Juju can stay healthy, and we got to remember that he missed all of training camp, all of rookie minicamp. He missed all of that with the surgery and then being out and then with injuries as well. So we get Dallas Flowers back. We have the depth there. And then you think about receiver, that could really change the dynamic of what we do. So like I said, I think it's all wide open, but I think anything is open for business, really.
Yeah, and I don't think Ballard's done a free agency either. I don't know if y'all remember. I think we brought in Stephon Gilmore post-draft, didn't we, last time?
We brought him in, I want to say, after draft, like April. No, I think it was before draft. I want to say it was like April 16th.
Because I could have swore he visited a lot of teams, and we ended up picking him up after the draft, if I remember right. But I think that there's going to be a veteran brought in the secondary, and I think there are going to be moves to be made post the draft, whether that be offense, whether that be defense. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah, for sure. Totally agree there. So yeah, Nathan is here saying, I hope we get the best athlete freak of nature, Brock Bowers. What do you think about that one, David?
I mean, it's just where we're going to be at in the draft and what's available with some of the needs we have. Is that really what we need? A tight end, an athletic tight end? Um, I've said this the last 2.5 years, 3 years about our tight ends. I just think that they need to be used better and utilized better. And I think last year we saw that. And especially now with some things we're hearing coming out just about Steichen's offense last year and how a lot of things were supposed to be different, right, from what we saw out of AR. So I can only imagine just the different utilizations and things like that we can use those tight ends. I'm not going to pull a Ballard piece out on all y'all, but the tight end room is a one group that I feel like I like what we got. So I'll leave it at that.
We like what we have. Yeah, y'all. I think most of you guys know where I pretty much stand on Brock Bowers. So I don't want to make it seem like I keep bashing him, but he just wouldn't be my pick. It's just another one of those things that I just don't really feel like the position equals to the need. I know a lot of people feel differently, but I just don't feel like that's the way to go. And it was April 18th that we
Okay, so he
got
was 2
Stephon
weeks before
Gilmore.
the draft.
So yeah,
Okay,
so
yeah.
it was before the draft. So that's why I kept telling people like the offseason is not over. You don't really know what happens. So anything can change.
Yeah, I've never seen a team win a
Um,
Super Bowl in April. So I'll leave it at that.
Austin is saying, if you look at receiver, most of our fan base is out on AP, but with AR, Pierce gives a deep ball game will be used. Um, damn, this is a really good one here that you bring up because I Matt would have really wanted in on this conversation because he did have a chat with Colts film room on Twitter about it and whatnot. And it was kind of like basically what was said was that it's a lazy analysis to think that Alec Pierce is going to get better with Anthony Richardson when the sample size shows it was small. But with Anthony Richardson, Alec Pierce was targeted even less than he was with Gardner Minshew. Obviously, Anthony Richardson has the arm talent to be able to push the ball down the field and make those throws. So um, it's a tough one. I still think it's something that's truly different because if you look at the ability of Pierce and the way he's used, you would think that with Anthony Richardson, those explosive plays would be a lot better. But me personally, I hate when people say they're out on a 1, 2, 3 year guy, 4 year guy on a rookie contract because of the fact that you still got him on that rookie contract. So I don't really like being out on those guys because you never know how they're going to develop and turn over that new leaf to really take off. I think they just still got more time to be in your building. You don't need to give up on them. Obviously, now if they suck, if they just really can't play ball at all, that's something totally different. But me personally, I just don't be out on guys after the first few years.
I agree. I'll leave it there.
For sure. Curtis Rogers is saying he wants Keon Coleman round one. I'm
I don't.
not taking Keon Coleman with the 15th overall pick. Not at all. I mean, at latest, about 26 is where I'd probably take him if I was to trade back. But I would not take him top 15.
If he finished the season the way he started it and stayed a little bit more healthy down the stretch, I'd probably give him the nod. But I'm getting some Kadarius Toney vibes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I get those vibes. I like it's like the speed isn't necessarily there. I mean, I know he obviously had the gauntlet drill where he had the highest miles per hour. And then there's some issue of effort on film. I just don't really see him as that top 15 type
Ashley
player.
said you don't want to take him because you're a Florida fan.
No, not at all. Because I would take Jared Verse. I would take Jared Verse. So I mean, I just don't really. Just not my guy. It's not my guy. I don't know. Not at 15. Dave Stewart is saying here, I hope Bauer's available at 15 so someone will overpay and we move down. I'm opposed to trading back. Now, obviously, if we traded back and didn't take Brock Bowers, I couldn't say I would be too mad. I'm just not a big fan of trading back personally, but I wouldn't be mad. All right, Keel saying here, if we can restructure Mo and Braden Smith, somehow grab Diggs and Xavier Howard, get in depth at cornerback, and free safety late will allow us to double dip at wide receiver early. Yeah, those are great points. I know a lot of people
Or
that
cut
I am
Mo.
in with my yeah,
Cut Mo,
many
restructure Smith. Now we're talking.
many want to cut more too. But many people in the group chat were down on Xavier Howard, saying that he was old and washed, and I think that is something that you should definitely have that veteran in the room to be able to get them going. As far as the young guys, educate them a little bit, give them a little bit of tips and stuff like that here and there. I think it could be really good for them to have that type of vet cornerback in the room. So I definitely like Xavier Howard. He was my one cornerback to go get, and then Diggs give us that free safety ability. So I think that's everything you need right there. And I also don't think he's going to be the overly expensive one like Justin Simmons will be. So totally agree, man. I don't know if I double dip at receiver though.
That's where I was at with it. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan of double dipping up positions. And last year, I mean, look what it got us with corner last year. You know what I mean? It just
we got two out of it. Just the third one.
crazy enough, the one that we thought was going to probably work out the best too.
Yeah.
Crazy enough. But yeah, I'm just not crazy about double dipping. For me, with wide receiver, like it's all about what are they going to bring to the table and like a sense of uniqueness. And I just don't want to see duplicity at that position. So we can't forget we got someone like Josh Downs, who's I think a Swiss Army knife at receiver. He could play inside, he could play outside. So it just have to be someone if we're going to double dip that's going to be different than Pitt, different from AP, and a couple of guys I'm seeing this year look a lot like AP. So you kind of feel the same way, Marco?
Yeah. That's how I felt.
Like Troy Franklin, like Franklin out of
Troy
Oregon.
Franklin.
Yeah.
I know some people were still pretty high on him, and most people like I don't know why that when we like grade guys or when we look at guys, we sit here and think that maybe we could get this guy because they're talented and whatnot or whatever, but we fail to really think back and look like how is this guy going to end up in the league? Like we tend to think that just because we draft a player, he's going to end up being some superstar when they could actually turn out to be a duplicate of what you already have or something not even as good. So that's just how I felt when I watched Troy Franklin play. I think he's a bit more polished than Pierce. I think he could do a little bit more. It's just the way he was used is exactly how I saw Alec Pierce being used when I watched him at Cincinnati on some of the film and stuff. So that's just like if we went receiver twice, it'd have to be maybe first round wide receiver, and then second and third couldn't be another wide receiver.
Dude, I think Ballard's big on Xavier Worthy. I think he likes him a lot.
You think so?
I think that'd be a perfect fit. I think that'd be a Devontae. Not saying he's Devontae Smith. Don't think he's out of context, but I think he could be that kind of guy for a Steichen offense, like you saw in Philly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a go and get it guy, stretching the field, like attacking pockets and stuff like that. Just giving AR that like opportunity to have bailout guys. So with that kind of speed, man. And like what Keo's saying right here, man. Could you imagine Pittman Downs, Brian Thomas Jr., Ricky Pearsall, Florida guy, with Alec Pierce rotating?
And see, and that's exactly that would be the double down on receiver. So if there was a way for us to do it, it would be first round Brian Thomas, it'd be second round Ricky Pearsall, because I do not think he's going to make it to the third round, and that's why I'm like a little iffy where you would need a gap and get another position in there. So I think it'd be more like first round Brian Thomas Jr., second round get maybe some cornerback. I'd say probably like maybe a Cam Hart, something like that. Then in third round, then you get like a Mekhi Corley. It'd be something like that. I don't know if Ricky would be there in the second. I don't even know if Corley would be there in the third. But that's just a tough one. But that rotation right there, that would be crazy at receiver. Like it'd be so hard to defense that, because then you got to stop JT and AR running the ball. And then the deep shots that we can take, there'd be so much speed on the field. Our offense would just be crazy.
It would be. And that's what we want.
Look, he
Yeah,
changed
look
it. He
at
changed
that.
Javon Baker in the third. Yeah, see. I mean, like,
I like Keo.
man, like it's just options out there. Like you would have our offense loaded. So if we went something like that and doubled on receiver, I wouldn't be totally mad at it just because of the holes and stuff. But we would have to get that veteran cornerback and veteran safety just because we can't just keep trying to replace young with younger at cornerback and thinking that we're solving the problem or at
Yeah.
safety.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And man, I know me and Zach have brought it up a couple times. I think McConkey out of Georgia is going to be like a top 3 receiver out this draft, career wise.
Lad, I call him Cooper Cup, man. I see when I watch
4.36, 4.37 speed.
And his footwork is
Phenomenal.
His footwork is watching somebody paint, bro. I mean, like,
dude, he moved the rock on those Georgia teams, dude. He did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
He made those quarterbacks look very good. So I think that guy is going to be he's going to end up somewhere and be a Danny Amendola and have like a 12, 13, 14-year career, man, truthfully.
I hope not a Danny Amendola. More like a Wes Welker or a Julian Edelman. Those would be my preferred if he had a career.
All three of them had great careers.
Because I think I see when I watch dude like run routes and stuff and the way he moves, I see Cooper Cup and it's just nasty. It's nasty.
Paul said Pitts, Downs, and Malik Neighbors would be nasty. No doubt about it.
See, Paul, Paul, no I want Malik Neighbors as much as anybody because of me. When I watch Malik Neighbors, I see Antonio Brown. And I'm not talking about crazy AB that was jogging off the field with a shirt off and everything. I'm talking about prime Antonio Brown with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, I think dude just will, I would love to have Malik Neighbors on this team, but I just don't see us being able to get him.
Yeah, definitely a dream pick, but it's, who knows? Did you see that video of AR throwing? I think he said he let about 40 balls go in that little training facility. Did you watch any of that tape?
I saw like the clip. I didn't know if there was more.
There was more. I think the receiver, it was like a workout of his, and he posted more video of it. And goodness, Colts beat writer wrote some stuff on it, but he said he was letting mid, short, intermediate routes go, and I was a little weirded out at first, but whenever I started to hear those hands pop, I was like, okay, he's still got something behind it. And granted, this is April, so he's still got another 4.5, 5 months of recovery at this point. So I thought that was refreshing to see. Like I kind of told you, I don't know why I didn't even think about the arm strength aspect of it as much as I did. I did it, man. You know what I mean? Just for some reason, I was just more worried about the injury sake in general. But I think for a lot of Colts fans, it may have been a little relieving to see, this early in the process, that ball is still coming out hot. And I mean, it was already coming out too hot, to be honest with you. So,
yeah, man, I definitely saw the video of him throwing at first, and then I also saw the one with him throwing the heavy bag, the ball, which I thought was crazy, just because he's already getting back into it and doing what he's doing, man. It's just been crazy to see that he's already bouncing back, because my first worry is when he got a shoulder injury, it's just, you just never know how a guy's going to recover from those. And then just to be able to rotate and come back from it, they have little issues and stuff like that. But also at the same time knew that, like, with all the doubters out there, that there was still some belief that everything could get back to being right as far as his arm ability to be able to throw. Like a guy like Matthew Stafford, I believe he had a torn rotator cuff, I want to say like twice, maybe even 3 times.
That was a labrum, right?
Yeah. So it was just something in there that I thought, like, as long as he recovers, get it back right, especially in the day and age that we're at with health and medicine, I just thought that happening with Stafford back in 2010 is like completely different for Anthony Richardson in 2024.
Well, he did it in high school too. Remember, like that was he did the exact same injury in high school to that shoulder. Which guys, I mean, I don't know if you realize that was only 2 years ago. so that was not that long ago. That was a little over 2 years ago, right? When he was still in high school. Or I guess 3 years. 3 years at this point. 2021, so 3 years ago at this point. So, and he did not get surgery at that time. And we all know.
I mean, he was still able to pop it with that.
Yeah, I mean, and truth be told, that's a weird thing to me is that they went and got 6 different doctors' opinions about that shoulder, and ultimately chose to go with surgery. Which, truth be told, I am pleased with that. Even though I think we would have loved to seen our quarterback. It's just crazy to me. You know what I mean? It's crazy thinking that he went and got it actually surgically repaired this time versus doing, which I understand why, versus last time we just did physical therapy in high school to get it back to where it's at. So I'm just hoping this is something that nips it in the butt and we don't have to worry about it again.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta stay off those shoulders. I mean, it's something that it's very easy injury to get to, as far as how you're falling all the time. Just one of those things that it can literally be a very quick one, just like Julian Blackmon with Atlanta in that game.
Oof.
I wouldn't say I'm overly worried though. I think he'll be all right. I like where he's at. I think it's a very good learning lesson for him because guys like him, they kind of really learn. Like when you're off the field and you're not with your team, you learn pretty quickly about what you need to do to get better.
Yeah.
Keo got a question here. He's saying, how would you guys feel if we grab Blake Corum, Bucky Irving, or Audric Estime in the 4th or 5th round?
Those listed guys, I'm a little. Those are just probably not the guys I would go if I went running back at all. It would be maybe even later than 4th and 5th round. I mean, Corum I could see working out just due to the pass catching availability and just the versatility in the backfield. But Audric Estime, I was high on him in college, and DeMarco's going to start laughing, maybe a little bit too high because I am kind of a Notre Dame fan at times. Just some things I didn't like to see on film. Now that I'm looking into some stuff, and I just don't think he'll be the best fit for the team. But SMA's a steamroller. I will say that. No one wants to see him in the open field at top speed. Not with the shoulder down. You're done. But it's gonna take a little while for him to get there.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So I'm out on the first and the last one that you named. So Blake Corum. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say out on Corum, but I mean he's just not high up there for me, just because I feel like that's very similar to JT already that we have. And as for Audric Estime, I think he's just too slow. I know he went back and ran the combine 40 or the pro day 40 at got it down to like a 4.58 or something like that. It's still just too slow to me. Guys his size, I just think that it could be a good bruising back. I just don't see how long he'd really last being at that speed. The last guy to really come out like him and be that big was Leonard Fournette, and he ran a 4.4. So it's like I just feel like you got to be a bigger guy when you're going to be that one. But Bucky Irving, I am very high on Bucky Irving. He is one of the fits that I think this scheme
He's out
needs.
of Oregon State. Oregon.
So he is one of my guys. You also see Austin Cook coming down there, right? Jalen Wright out of Tennessee. He is another guy.
Yes.
And then my other running back that I have would be Isaac Guerrero. That would be my other guy. He's the explosive leader in the league. So those are my 3 running backs. And if you guys notice, the 3 that I named, they all are very similar in size. So they're a little bit shorter on the height wise, closer to about 200 pounds, or a little bit smaller, closer to being scat backs. But these are guys that can be explosive in between the tackles if you want to use them. They're not going to be your every down guy though, but they also have great catching ability and are explosive. So those would be the 3 running backs that I would look for. I would aim for those in between about, I would say, late 5th to 7th round. Keo, those are the guys that I'd be looking at. So, yeah, not totally out on the other 2 that you named, but I just feel like with JT, I don't really feel like that's the area that we need to go, including with Sermon. I just like one of those 3 guys to be where we fit. James Sims is saying, how do you think the offseason is going to go this year? Do you think with the schedule we have – I said offseason. I added offseason. The season. Do you think with the schedule we have, it will be a dominant season? We play the NFC North.
Which we usually do pretty well against. We do.
NFC North, obviously the AFC South. What was the other division we played? Is it the AFC North?
We get the no.
I think it is the
East.
AFC North because we play the Steelers.
Okay, then it has to be the AFC North. I'm like,
I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure we play the NFC North and the AFC North.
AFC North. Yep.
So obviously we got the third ranked schedule, right? I don't really like to look at those just because no team typically isn't going to be what they were last year. Who's getting warm here? No team is typically going to be what they were last year. Obviously, when you lose pieces like take last year, and I'm not trying to crap on Tennessee Titans. I don't need no hate right now, but just seeing what you guys did last year, the adjustments you made, how the offensive line was, I really saw that they weren't going to be a very good team. So I slated them down. I obviously thought the same with the Colts just because it was tough to see where we were going to be. Now, looking at some of the teams and the way we match up, I think having the third place schedule is going to work in our favor because they are also teams that are going to be coming up. It's not like you're already playing a lot of division winners. Now, the NFC North, these are all teams that are going to be very solid. They have talented rosters. Most of them have a franchise QB already.
And a good defense, too. Most of them.
And not the Lions. The Lions defense is kind of, but their offense can put up points to where it's not like the Colts should be very similar to the Detroit Lions last year. High scoring offense. Their defense gives up plenty of points. We need turnovers. So just looking at some of that, I think that the schedule that we have, we will not have a dominant season. But I think that if the Colts play to their level, because honestly, I'm telling you, just the way that I see this team is built, and it really, like, that's why people think I favor Ballard so much. It's just because the way I see it, I see that if guys play to their ability, that we can beat pretty much anybody. So I don't think it'll be dominant, but I think we should have a good season.
I'm on the same page. I mean, there's just so much to be determined and so much to see this year. Like, we're kind of getting our first go with AR, knock on wood, in a full season. So we're going to get like a perspective of what the team's going to gel like and what the offense is truly going to look like. So I think the Lions comparison was very strong. In NBA terms, the Oklahoma City Thunder. So it's going to be interesting. I think I still have us a game or two above 500. It's kind of where is where my sweet spot is at, and that can fluctuate. You know what I mean throughout the season. I'll leave it there. You're muted.
So a game or two above 500, that'd be about 9 or 8, 10 and 7.
About the same we were this year.
That's fair. I would hope for 10 or 11. That is my hope, and I'm not saying that out of bias. I just think that if Chris Ballard is banking on what Anthony Richardson could be and what I think he could be,
and his job,
and his job. I just, as long as we are not giving up 24 points per game, I think we'd be okay. And that's where the worry is, because I'm just basing this off of last year. He was getting torched by some backup QBs. Like, we got to start being able to
receivers. Let's be honest. No name receivers. I'm gonna say it for the 15th time on this podcast. Shaheed Rahid should not have went for 225 yards and 3 touchdowns on us against the Saints.
Yeah, so we can't put 25 points on our basically rookie quarterback to come out and score each and every week. So I think we'll be okay if we're at about 23 points per game, 24, 22, something like that. I think we'll be okay. Keo saying here he's high on Kyrie Jackson from Oregon at cornerback, 3rd to 5th round. 6'3", fluid hips, shoots through catching hands as well. That Colorado game was fire. Yeah, man, I ain't even gonna lie. I was mad at that game because I wanted Colorado to keep proving people wrong, but he had Xavier Weaver and them boys. He had them struggling Bro can ball. He can really ball. I like Kyrie Jackson. I think that'd be perfectly said. Another guy that I think could be there in second, third round, something like that. I don't think he'll make it to the fourth or fifth. If he does, I'd be shocked.
I think Zach's really high on Kyrie Jackson too, right? I think we've had a couple conversations about him.
I don't. I just remember him being really high on Newman, Tyler Newman.
Minnesota safety.
Yeah. I don't know if he was high on Kyrie Jackson. I wish he would have checked in tonight. I'm not sure. I'm not too sure. What's your thought on Kyrie Jackson and him being third through fifth?
Yeah, I like that pick. Bring some size to the room, which I'm always a fan of. Lengthier, bigger corners, truthfully. And just from what I've seen, especially down the stretch this year, he did look good.
Hey, Keo, do you remember what Kyrie Jackson 40 time was? My bad, David.
No, you're good. And Keo chimes in here. If we get 4 to 7 wins, Ballard's seat needs to be a flame. Keo, were you here 2 weeks ago by chance and watched our episode? We went in for about, what, 3 hours? 2.5 hours?
It was almost 3 hours.
It was almost 3 hours long about Ballard's job. So definitely a good watch if you want to go back and watch that. I think it was 2 episodes back. So
yeah,
we are all on the same page. There's no animosity. We all feel the exact same way.
I'm anything less than 8 wins by like week 15, 16 is just that it can't go on anymore. I've liked what Ballard has done. I think that I've been the most I guess I would have to say apologetic or apologist for Ballard and what he's done, but there's just no way that if we get 4 to 7 wins that he could still stick around. It's just unless Anthony Richardson just absolutely took a crapshoot, Shane Steichen couldn't coach or something. It would just be it would be a complete failure. There's no way that 4 to 7 wins could go over at all. That would have to be the wrap. Like the Indianapolis Colts absolutely have to make the playoffs for him to keep his job. Anything less to me, and I'm not even saying win the division. You don't have to win the division. You have to make the playoffs. It's just
that's a
anything less than
Marco.
anything less than that, bro. We're wasting time.
Think about that though. Do you post draft working into training camp? Do you think he's going to sit down in his chair and look in the mirror and say, "I think this team can make the playoffs. I know this team can make the playoffs." That's.
I mean, I think he would, because I would also do it. Like I believe we can. I believe we should have last year. So I don't think it would be wrong for him to sit now. For him to sit and look in the mirror and say, if we don't make the playoffs, should I be gone? I think that would be the better question.
But I think we can as a franchise. I didn't want to throw this out tonight, but I'm going to. And I mean this in the best way possible, DeMarco, but we can't look at a team like Houston and say, wow, this is a GM doing absolutely everything he can to, and I know what you're about to say is they got a year of their quarterback. I agree. But guys, we can still use that mindset, in my opinion. What's wrong with building a team? What if AR gets hurt? So what? We're just gonna have you see what I mean? It's just to me, man, yeah. I don't know. I'm a little off about it. You know what I mean? And
I want to say we brought that up too in the whole Ballard conversation, because what I had said was, it's like say we do make it to the playoffs, right? And say we maybe win the division, or say we just make it to the playoffs and we win a wild card game, right? Almost like Andrew Luck's rookie season, except we lost the first wild card round. Then say we win that wild card round game, we make it to the next round, and I'm not even going to say injury. Let's just say we lose like 27-14, and we're just overly matched from this team because of.
Are you saying we're out talented? We're Miami Heat versus the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah, just not quite there. Like
the grit got us to the point. Got us to the grit, the hustle, the great preparation got us there. We're matched up evenly, and we're getting out talented at different position groups.
And it just pushes them over the edge. We don't get there, right?
So kind of like at the end of that Houston game, whenever we get 2 sacks in a row, 3rd and 22, and CJ Stroud gets forced out of pressure, goes 15 yards behind a line of scrimmage, throws a prayer, Nico Collins falls under it. You put in the group chat directly. What can we do?
Exactly. So it's just like
we were
you
used
just
to that.
can't.
We were used to that with Andrew Luck. You know how many times we played people?
You
And
just
T.Y.
can't.
Hilton, 45 yards on the field, is in the corner. And that ball is there. That
Exactly.
team season's done. You know what I mean?
So it's like that's what I mean. Like just thinking about the point of what could have been. So it's like if I sit there and think like, damn, yeah, this was a hell of a good season. We made it past the wild card round.
Austin,
We got
I'm
to
the biggest
division.
Miami Heat fan in the world. Do not worry. The biggest Miami Heat fan in the world.
Yeah, so it's like, right, you get to that point, right? And then it goes like, because I start process thinking. My immediate thought would go back to maybe one of our conversations. Like you said, it's like, damn, what if Ballard would have just thought back in April that, hey, if I added this vet here, or if I did this here, when we were thinking like, yeah, this plan could work and it plays out and it gets us that far. But if you would have added that one piece or two back in April, those could have been the pieces to get us to that AFC Championship game.
And that's how we feel about
corner. That Super Bowl. So that's where I'm like, it could be a successful season if we make the playoffs and whatnot, or maybe win a playoff game, and then you just sit there and think, you're like, God damn, what if we would have went in like the Texans? What if we would have just added this other piece of that guy? So I do get your point to that. I just think more so like I'm of the mind that we need to make the playoffs in the first place before we can even get there. So that's why it's kind of like I get what you're saying, and maybe it will come to that at some point. But I just think that we got to show that we can even get there first. So I totally agree with what you're saying. I think it'll end up being more hindsight, and plus we still got time to wait and see. But man, yeah, I totally get what you're saying, because I just would feel like I'd just be gritting my teeth if we were close and then just got set back.
DeMarco, and I'll be honest with you, I'm just different with that point right there, and I'm just different because when Andrew came back, and I hate to bring up Andrew Luck sob story, but when Andrew came back in 2018, we did not know how good he was going to be. We didn't. He was a year and a half removed from football, and we still loaded up that team. We did. We took Paris Campbell. We didn't need Paris Campbell that year. I don't think we did. I think we needed to load up more on defense, truthfully. And
what was that
18, 19? You know what I mean? Remember whenever Frank Reich did the press conference, said this isn't fair, and that didn't look good in hindsight. But I mean, after we picked up Paris, but man, that's just where I differ is I don't think the team is at a disadvantage when you load up and show aggression like the Texans have done, because even if the worst comes to worst and something bad happens, we still have a good enough team surrounding that I would think that it would push us to a better point. I don't think we have to wait to make the playoffs to do that. And the reason why I say that is Ballard has to show a sense of urgency at this point. I mean, we're 8 seasons in, man. If anything, this is when the sense of urgency needed, and that's why so much fans are at disrest. Is we've had the most amount of cap in the NFL over the last 5 years, and I think plenty of draft capital, and this is kind of the product that we put together. So that's where I'm different, man. I'm just going to leave it at that because we're going to get into that whole other can of worms. But that's just me.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that, but it's just tough because like if you think back to that 19 season, we did need a receiver though, because Ty was getting old. He was coming off the injury that season, and then we only had Michael Pittman, who or actually no, we didn't even have Pittman yet.
We didn't have Pitt.
We end up going to receiver again 2 years in a row. So we definitely still needed receiver. But I just, man, I don't know. I just like I get that people want some teams to go in, but when you got to remember, like when you look at these teams that go in and just try and make all this turnover, it almost never works. And so, like you look at Jacksonville, they're top 10 and spending money like every year.
The last 15 years
since like 2010, and they literally still have less wins than us since 2015. So not even 2014 when we made the AFC Championship, 2015 when we started just to go 8-8 and start that little struggle. And then Houston, as Keo said, Houston showed the aggression in last year's draft. I saw that change that moment. Immediately thought that Ballard would never do that. See, the thing is we're thinking about this hindsight because when I saw them make these moves, I actually did the breakdown on Houston's team over the last offseason. If you remember, I was hyping up Houston, and I still didn't think it would give them enough. So it's like, yeah, they made those moves and then they go in this year. It's like when you go all in like that and it don't work and you bring in all these pieces, they've had I want to say 12 defensive changes to their team. And if that don't work, you're setting yourself up to be in a hole all over again. And so I get that people want it to change over like that, but me personally, it's just my opinion. I know we kind of differ on opinions on how it's built, but I just think that building it a way to last for the long term, like a Kansas City, rather than a Philadelphia where you get these pieces and then you go all in and then do it that way. I just differ on where you go into to build that, man. Like I would definitely love to see some pieces added, like a free safety and a cornerback veteran. Those guys, I think everybody would have been plenty of happy if we would have already did that. But yeah, man, I just think you got to kind of build it the right way to where guys are going to be around for a while, rather than just kind of getting some names for a little bit.
Agreed.
Keel saying here, replace Paris Campbell with Terry McLaurin or DK Metcalf, and dear God. Hey, it's crazy that you say this, bro, because I was just doing some research on the drafts that we have, dude, and I was telling the group chat, Damon and all these guys, that the year of 2019 when we had this chance, right? So our second round draft picks, the first one was Rock Ya-Sin. We could have took Debo Samuel. So Rocky said we could have took Debo Samuel. The second pick was Ben Banagoo. We could have had AJ Brown. Literally, they were 3 picks apart. Then another pick in the second round, we took Paris Campbell, and we could have had DK Metcalf. So I was just telling the guys about that, and oh my God, I was just like, geez, I know we had needs at cornerback. And then obviously the miss with Banagoo, and then Campbell couldn't stay healthy. I just think about those other 3 receivers, and I was just it obviously, you know that you don't know how realistic that is, taking 3 receivers in one round, but that hit me like a brick wall. I'll tell you. Couldn't believe it.
And Dave makes a good point here too. Hindsight is so easy now.
Yeah.
It is. It
So
is,
easy.
man.
Yeah.
Every NFL team can do that. 32 other teams missed out on those guys. 31 other teams, missed out on those guys too.
Well, 31 other teams didn't have 3 second-round picks. So that's where I was like, oh.
Yep. So easy it looks now. And then, yeah, but who would have thought Darius Leonard would have been a probably first ballot Hall of Famer? You know what I mean? And so it's just like that's just so hard. That's just so hard. You know what I mean? To go back and look at in that scope.
Yeah.
It's just we could do this all day. You know what I mean?
I just specifically look at it for that draft because that was probably the one that, like, I wouldn't say like the worst, but just like when you think about some different pieces that you maybe could have did, even if you just went, what was it, Debo over Rock, and then went AJ over Banagoo, or obviously that's 2 defensive pieces, or even DK over Paris, just 2 of them. It's just like, oh my God. So, but yeah, man, I just was just commenting in there from Keo's talking about replacing Paris with Terry or DK, just because I saw that the other day, and it just took me like, wow. Yeah, Jordan Warner or Gronkowski. I don't know if Gronkowski would have – I mean, it's tough to say he would have been the same player that he was with New England. But I do get your point, though. But it still works the same way.
Could you imagine prime Andrew Luck and Gronk, bro?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Hey, I was did you watch any of that I was talking about earlier when they were doing with the Colts rewind? Those
DeMarco,
plays of that?
I've watched all of those games. I fall asleep to old school games. You know what I mean? A lot of times, so I've watched so many of those games so many times. I
Oh
could tell you
man.
play call and everything like that. That Dolphins game, whenever he broke the record, him and Ty absolutely melted the Dolphins. If y'all didn't see today, NFL Network did a classic rewind of Andrew Luck and some of his biggest moments. So they played the
2012 rookie year.
2012 rookie year. So they did they show the Broncos game?
If they did, I missed it. I only saw the Dolphins and the Lions rewind. Him and
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford was dueling, bro. I mean, I just thought back to myself sitting on the couch and watching that game of how crazy I was going. Because when
Donnie Avery was Ty and Donnie were cooking.
cooking, and when
that
Andrew Luck,
game.
when he threw that fourth interception, I was like, bro, come on, man. You had
He was never out of it.
Never out of it. And it was just like every time that you put the ball in it. That's why I hate how underrated he was, because like people wanted to sit there and say different things about him. I'm like, bro, when this guy's on the field, you better keep playing.
He threw 3 picks in the second quarter of that Kansas City game we came back into. I'll never forget, 4 picks, right? It was like 4 picks, 4 touchdowns. He's like, we're even. we're batting even, but
he's like, hey, as long as I can keep throwing touchdowns, we ain't out.
yeah. But that was a cool thing if y'all got to see that. Yeah, that was definitely on today. But
hey, you good, Keo? You good, man? Just keep them coming, man. We just appreciate keeping up the conversation tonight, man. We wanted to give y'all a mock draft, but we had to have some other things going on tonight, so couldn't get that. So it's all good, man. It's all good. But
what do you feel about like offensive line depth going into this season? That's gonna be interesting to me. I know we brought Pinter back, which I thought was a good, a good little budget deal, but I know we haven't talked a lot about it, but I think there's some depth to be had at the whole position group. You know what I mean? Because it's no secret, Kelly's getting a little old. I would say Raymond's probably a year out of an extension. If he keeps up at this level, of course. And then Braden's going to be an interesting thing as well. So,
yeah, man. So I'd say I'm really not too worried about offensive line like at all. This is probably the least I've ever been worried about it. Obviously, we know where Ballard will go. At some point in one of these late rounds, he'll take a development late round or late round swing tackle. Because we got Bernard Ryman, we got Quentin Nelson, we got Ryan Kelly. We got Will Fries. We got Braden Smith. Then we got not Wesley French. We got it is Wesley French. Then we got Blake Freeland.
Will Fries.
Pinter, we got I already named him with the starting 5. Then we bring back Pinter, Freeland, and then I want to say we had one other offensive lineman. So right now we currently have 8. So I'm really not too worried about offensive line. Yeah, I mean, not really worried about it at all. I would say that Charles Leno that I wanted back in 2022 or 2021 when we signed Eric Fisher is he's a free agent, and he just had surgery. I think he could be a cheap guy to bring in if we need some more depth and experience at that pretty much anywhere on the offensive line. That would be a guy that I would look to, but honestly, I'm not really too worried about offensive line depth. You didn't have anything else on that one?
Good to go.
Keel saying if Richardson can keep the mojo he had in the Rams game this year, will be glorious. I'm telling you, I'm just all juiced up. I just hate how small his sample size was, but I think Anthony Richardson is going to go absolutely scorched earth if we do something on offense with that 15th overall pick. Like if we get a Brian Thomas Jr. or Xavier Worthy, oh man, I think offense is just going to be too explosive to even get close to.
I agree. So that's how it's going to be.
Did you have anything else late in the draft? Was there anybody that you were looking for as far as I know, we got our heavy rounds. First 1, 2, 3. Then we got some back end rounds or anything like that.
No, no, I didn't have anything. I think we've touched on it a lot. It's getting to that kind of awkward stage where we're like a month and a half, 2 months into talking about the draft, free agency. I'm just ready for it to happen so we can start getting into like our recap and into our mini camp and stuff like that. And hey, Keo, hey, I was huge on Ogletree, man. Like I'm telling you, like my favorite guy in that tight end room. It's like every time he'll go off for a 35, 40-yard completion, he'll get a concussion. so, or get hurt. You know what I mean? But he did have him looking like that. He's still on the team, right? Technically, you're on the reserve list. How? Because I know the legal situation, saying in legal terms, was supposedly dropped by the district attorney. So is he still on like the league reserve, the Colts reserve list? How's that going to work?
As far as I know, he wasn't even put on the commissioner's exempt list. So I'm not sure where anything is in the process right now. I know the NFL still has to do its own investigation to see if there will be some discipline there. I'm guessing a 4 to 6 game suspension, maybe if they do something. Um, but as far as I know, he if the season was to start today, I'm pretty sure he'd be on the active roster.
Right, because he's cleared. He's cleared the charges from what was said in that
From with the legal side.
the legal side. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, I'm hoping Jelani Woods can just come back and because I like Ogletree as well, just more so with his with the whole situation that he had, and then also him still needing some development. Just as Dave Stewart here is saying, need Jelani Woods to be healthy. He could be the difference maker. Yeah, and that's exactly where I'm at. Because if Jelani Woods can stay healthy, it could really be a good turnout for this team. It could be huge for this team. I think Jelani Woods could be a really good top young tight end in this league. So I'm just hoping he can come back and be healthy for us and give us what we need.
I agree.
So, where do you got the AFC South right now? What would you say in the state of everything as far as the offseason is went? If you had to rank like a 1 through 4 as far as how their offseasons went so far, and you had to start the season today, you're 1 through 4.
I got Texans number 1, Indy, Jax, Tennessee, and I think you can. I think if we're talking from an off-season standpoint, I would not be upset if someone put Jacksonville 2 over Indy, just because we have been kind of quiet. You know what I mean? I could completely understand that and respect that, and I could agree. But that's what I have so far. What about you?
Mine's would actually be the same.
Yeah.
So 1, 2, 3, Houston, Indy, Jacksonville, and Tennessee. But I also think that 1 through 3 are very interchangeable. I also think that this division is wide enough open to where anybody could win it.
Yeah, I mean, imagine if Jacksonville didn't fall apart. There could have been 3 playoff viable teams, and I think there's depending upon Trevor Lawrence's health and ARs, that certainly could be a possibility again. Kind of like back in the day with those NFC West teams when you had Arizona, 49ers, and Seattle, duking it out. You had 11-5 team, damn near missing the playoffs. That's a very big possibility, so that's going to be interesting. But
yeah, most definitely.
It's crazy. I mean, if you think about it, the whole division just comes down to health completely.
What up, Chris? Yeah, exactly. And I think that Tennessee also became a huge difference once they started going with Will Levis. Their team looked different as well. I think that's something that you could easily say is as big as turnover as Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans had last year. That Tennessee could be also one of them teams that can come up and compete too. So I think this division is wide open for all competition of all areas. So I would definitely put it that same way that you did, and that's why I also don't ever give the same things that people say. Oh, this team has already won because this is just April. This is all on paper. You never know how a season is going to come out, and then one team could always just be one injury away before everything just goes left. So I think that if we can stay healthy, if AR is the guy that we think he is, I do truly believe that we should be winning this division. That's just me though. Dave Stewart is saying a lot of times teams making big moves like the Texans did don't work out. They even question Diggs' move by cutting the contract from 3 years to one. Exactly. That is exactly what me and Damon was sitting here having the conversation. I just think that when you have so much changeover, things could come into question. And I don't mean to question D'Amico Ryans. I think he was my number one coach going into last year's offseason. I just think that when you have so much change, you got to work to get everybody back on the same page. You want guys coming in with the same mindset. And so to give up a second round pick next year for the 1 year rental for $22 million, that's something that's tough. And then they also got brought in Hunter for 2 years. That's a lot of change that you're making. So, we'll see how it goes, man. But I still I never believe anything on paper. I don't think paper doesn't tell me anything. I could care less of what offseason move somebody really made, unless you absolutely get worse. Then that's when it matters to me.
I agree.
Chris is also saying, I have faith in this team when we can stay healthy. Totally agree. I think that's just a matter of the fact for us, staying healthy. Quarterback, cornerback, safety, stay healthy. Keel Walker is saying they gave Diggs motivation. They turned his contract into a prove-it deal. So it was actually not really a prove-it deal. I guess the report that came out was it was part of the deal for Diggs to be traded to Houston is that they would restructure the deal into a 1 year deal because he would want to go to his choice of destination. And so they changed it to a 1 year deal. I mean, hell, maybe he goes there and he likes Houston and then he ends up resigning. But as far as I know, they told him that he can go to any team in the league except for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so that's why he chose that wherever I get traded to, I get to choose the team. And then I also get my deal converted to a 1 year deal. But yeah, man, I just think on paper, not really matter for me. I mean, obviously you could do the offseason rankings like me and David did, but can't wait until after the draft to give to do our whole team breakdown to get in the shoot.
I'm ready for it.
I don't know who we're gonna switch it up to.
It's just that weird time of the year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But luckily, we still got some mock drafts and stuff to do. Actually, there might be a little bit of changes, so might as well just update you guys
Absolutely.
now. Matt's going to be moving. I won't really express from where, but I'll just say he's just moving pretty far. I'm going to have a little bit of changes as far as to see when he'll be back and more available to be back on here with us pretty soon. But for sure, we will definitely make sure to keep all you guys included and just keep coming to the comments as always. Should be here every week still. Just we'll see what his schedule looks like when he finally gets everything moved over. That'll be most of the change. I think Trev is moving as well.
Yeah, he is. He is. And I would say effective timeline for all of them without being personal, just as far as expectations, probably going to be about a month out. A little over a month. So, but Trev says he's going to try to pop in as much as he can. I think he said actually pretty consistently he thinks he should be on. So just don't be surprised. There's going to be a couple episodes here with Zach or even Damon DeMarco like you've seen here tonight. So we're going to run a very.
We should get Zach back too.
Zach will be back pretty consistently. Guys, like what y'all did tonight, we love it whenever we're feeding off of y'all's energy, questions and things like that. We always come into each episode with kind of a itinerary what we're going to talk about, and that can change at any time. And like we had 2 episodes ago, we get in an argument and we got people leaving. So it happens, y'all. So this whenever it gets fun this year, but just to kind of keep that on y'all's radar. Don't be surprised if there's a couple of Damon DeMarco shows, Zach included as well, while Matt and Trev move. So
for sure. And then we definitely I'm going to try and get some more guests on. Hopefully I can reach out to another rookie and see if we can get another rookie guy on and whatnot. I'm gonna try and get Jake Witt back too. I need to go hit him up and see if he'll come back on and do another a recap pretty much because I know he missed most of last year. Try and get him on and stuff like that. But I'll try and figure out maybe if I can screen share and whatnot, we could put the draft up here so we can do the mock draft and whatnot.
Or even get our buddy from the Athletic back. That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
I know that you and him have kind of had some exchanges on Twitter. Seems to be all love. But that'd be sweet. And that rookie was awesome last year. Just kind of hear his preparation. And it's crazy because we really got to talk to him and get our hands on him before he even
the media did.
The media did. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think that was what, minicamp week? Yeah, it was. Remember, it was minicamp week. I think it was that weekend. It was like the first weekend of minicamp.
The weekend before, yeah.
Yeah, so that was awesome. Another great listen. But yeah, it's this one. It gets fun for us, and we're able to network a little bit more. And I know that even Zach and some of the partners from ZTV guys are possibly talking about us getting media passes to go to training camp. So there's a possibility that one of us, or maybe two of us, might be able to make it to training camp and just get y'all some footage out there, some live streams. Our style, you know what I mean? I'll leave it at that. Kicking with the crew style. So
appreciate all of y'all. Please like, share, subscribe. We are on everything: Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Apple Music and Spotify, or Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Appreciate all y'all. I don't know if y'all seen, but man, I really like the way they did the draft hat this year. I like the little glare that they got on there. I picked up my Pittman jersey. Got that last week. But yeah, man, go check us out at ZTV Online. You know, go check out the merch we got on there. Please help and support Kicking with the Crew. We got our new logos updated on there, new merch and stuff like that. So appreciate everybody being in here tonight with us. Man, just keep supporting. We really appreciate y'all tonight. And as always, go Colts.
Go Colts.
Stay conservative, run the ball here on third down.
Here's Richardson. He takes it in for his first NFL touchdown. And Pittman takes it inside the 20, the 10, towards the end zone. Touchdown on 2nd and 28. The Colts capitalize. Richardson.